All right, here we go with a little bit of a different format video now. We'll see if this is received well and see if we'll stick to it. So this is just going to be an overall daily news recap. Um, Obviously for the day prior, so this will be posted on a Tuesday, and this will be covering all these important news from Monday. For me, I'm considering it my important news. Obviously, there's a lot of important news that happens, but these are going to be things that are relatively relevant to my portfolio that I think are pretty important for you to know. We're going to start here with a nice early one, right at 2 a.m. my time in Central. So this is an early morning thing. This is right as I wake up for work. We're like, hey, here we go. Here's some good news. Disney struck gold again. That's right. Frozen 2 over the weekend hauled in 127 million domestically and 223 million worldwide, which is a fantastic opening weekend, and it's the highest grossing debut for any animated film globally. That is insane. And obviously this is pretty well anyone saw it coming if you saw one of my videos previously, where I talked about the dominance of Disney in the box office. I expected a very huge result out of Frozen 2, and here we go. So again, this is looks like it's going to be the sixth film to make more than $1 billion in 2019 alone. I mean, it's crazy. And you think about this, they also have the new Star Wars coming out. Obviously, that a lot of that money is going to be made after the start of the new year because they're released in December. So it probably won't hit 1 billion in this year, but the new Star Wars absolutely will hit 1 billion in its lifetime. So something to consider. Then we have a little bit later, we have HP dismisses Xerox bid. It was significantly undervalued, and I would definitely agree with that. I think that the value they gave was a little weak, and I'm perfectly okay with HP declining this offer. Frankly, I have no issue with it. It caused a little jump in share price for me. I'm not necessarily in HP for capital appreciation in the short term, so I'm okay with it going up in the short term. But I enjoy getting the dividend there. But overall, you see HP denied Xerox here for that takeover bid, and I haven't seen any new release from Xerox on what they're going to be offering more. We'll see what they're willing to offer. I think it'd be more fair to offer somewhere around $24, $25 a share. I don't know if that'll necessarily be approved by the HP board, but obviously their current proposal certainly was not good enough, and I understand that because it just makes sense. Then we have some good old forecasts, some analysts. We don't like them, but you know what? Apple tells supply chain partners to expect strong sales for the 5G iPhone coming next year, which we'll see. Tech giant reportedly expects to sell over 100 million, up from the 70 to 80 million forecast from the iPhone 11 family, and the iPhone 11 is their biggest selling phone right now, and a lot of that's just due to price. A lot of people might have been disappointed that they didn't release a 5G iPhone, but they certainly will next year. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they get as a result for this 5G iPhone. I think it is their new wave of, bringing back this iPhone demand. People have always been insulting. These analysts have been talking about iPhone demand for a while, how it's declining, but really it's not. The iPhone 11 really brought back a lot of that demand, and there's a lot of people really interested in these phones, and it'll be interesting to see who upgrades to a 5G, and I think a lot of people will because it is the next big thing. It is actually innovation there for them, where the 11 didn't necessarily innovate. The 11 benefits, I think, just because of the fact that they're the cheaper model, just the base 11 it's a cheaper phone for iPhone, and a lot of people are looking for that. They're not looking to upgrade to something that's more expensive for a better camera or whatever it might be, because there's not necessarily anything significant on that phone that's going to be life changing. The camera's very good, obviously, on the Pro and the Pro Max, but again, the 11 is just it's a quality phone. If I were to suggest getting an iPhone, I would say the iPhone 11. I personally do not have an iPhone, but I would say get the 11 if you were interested. And we have some absolutely huge news next. Huge news. So Schwab officially did announce that they are going to be purchasing TD Ameritrade. Transaction will close second half of 2020. Shareholders of TD Ameritrade will receive 1.0837 shares of Charles Schwab. Obviously, as a result, TD Ameritrade's up again. I mean, this is something where I'm not a guy who's looking for short-term capital appreciation, and I mention this a lot. I'm more of a long-term guy. But I will say, ever since I bought the dip we saw, I think at this point it was September maybe, whenever we saw those shares go down in the 30s, and I purchased my shares right around the $33 range. I'm already up 60% on this thing in a couple months, which is freaking insane. I wanted to develop a bigger position now, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So now I'm going to be turning that into Charles Schwab shares, which I'm okay with. I have no issue. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens. This is obviously going to have to go through approval phases, but I think it'll be good. And it's an all-stock deal, which is pretty interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there, but I'm okay with it. A lot more short-term appreciation than I anticipated, but in the meantime, I'll just be sitting there collecting my dividend from TD Ameritrade and just enjoying it, seeing if we can go up any more. But this is why it's important to buy dips. It really is. Buy the dip, baby. It's what it's all about. There we go. So then we have Facebook launching a market research app known as Viewpoints. Rewards users for participating in surveys and research. Again, it's going to be one of these things where, and we all see them all the time, where you conduct surveys, they'll give you some sort of points/currency, whatever it might be, and after a while you can redeem that for whatever it could be, whether it's for Facebook, something related to Facebook, who knows? But obviously it's good for product insights, see what people are interested in. Company says it won't sell Viewpoints data to third-party apps, which a lot of people probably are concerned about with that. This is all entirely an in-house thing, so they're using that data for themselves. So I'm okay with it personally. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. That's pretty interesting for them, though. Pretty interesting to launch their own market research app. Obviously, they'll need it, so it's always good. They're always about product innovation, and I think Facebook does a fantastic job at that with their wide portfolio of businesses they own right now. So here we go. Here's a garbage analyst here. But you know what? We got to include the news, okay? Hedgeye, who I don't know what the heck Hedgeye is. If that's even how it's pronounced, I don't know. Andrew Friedman says Disney Plus likely to have 18 million in the U.S. Nearly 2 weeks after the debut. 18 million. Yikes. It got 10 million obviously on the day of release. This is something I've mentioned a lot, and I actually agree with this analyst here. As far as the price target's concerned, 200 might be a little rich in the next year. Might be a little rich, but I don't necessarily think it's not. Or it is at least. I don't think it's necessarily rich. And I mentioned this before. So I think we're going to see a lot of adoption for Disney Plus, and there's no denying that. And I think people are underestimating what these numbers are going to be. Disney Plus is a lot more than people are anticipating, and it's a fantastic service. I mean, I've been using it now since launch, and I love it. I mean, it's time to binge watch all these things. If I had time in my day that I wasn't working, I would binge watch some stuff, but I'm just, there's so much content to watch, and there's only going to be more and more through the coming years that they're going to be developing in terms of, originals. Right now, they're kind of short on originals, and once they get those originals going, my gosh, what can you do? Um, it's gonna be crazy, and I could see a path for Disney stock to reach this 200. It doesn't shock me at all. If you look at a company like Netflix, who, with earnings and revenue not near what Disney is pulling in, and they were valued so high for so long in that $200 to $300 range, for no real justification. It's weird to say Disney could get in that point, because Disney's never been in that point, at stock where it's been a hype stock. It's never really been in that. It's for the past long time. It's been just pretty well, flat for a full year, and there just hasn't been too much growth going on there. But now, as of this year, they've started to transition into a growth stock, which is a little bit crazy. And I've held my shares for a couple of years now. And I wish I'd gotten more at this point. I mean, I didn't know necessarily this thing would run up as much as it has, and I think it will continue to, which is fantastic. Honestly, I'm pretty excited to see what the future has for a Disney stock. Here's a news article related to specifically my portfolio, but you might be interested because this is a quote-unquote penny stock. Anything under $5 is pretty well penny stock. Plug Power, one of my biggest hype stocks. Let's go. I've been pushing this one for a little while now. Plug Power pushes to multi-year highs as B. Riley, FBR, reiterates its buy. Raises price target to $6 per share from $3.50. That's fantastic. B. Riley analyst Christopher Van Horn thinks the multiple is appropriate given Plug's implied 35% 5-year compound annual growth rate. That's KGR, but CAGR. I call it KGR. I don't know why I call it that, but that's what we're calling it. Nearly 90% 4-year CAGR from his 2020 adjusted EBITDA estimate. Plug's long-term revenue target of $1 billion over the next 5 years with $200 million in adjusted EBITDA seems highly probable. It's debatable whether it's highly probable, but it certainly could happen. But if it does reach $1 billion within 5 years, I mean, the stock is, you know what? This stock's gonna be a good one. That's all I could tell you. I'm bullish on this stock. I'm very bullish on this stock, and I'm already up over 80%. And I'm gonna keep holding it. I think there's a lot of money to be made in this stock, and I obviously, again, I always say this, but it's a speculative stock for me, so I don't have that much in it. It's somewhere, maybe 50 shares is what I own in this, 30 to 50 shares, somewhere around there. And, I mean, obviously I'll take whatever I can get. 100% gains on, however many shares, it's still 100% gains. I don't really care, whatever it might be. So we'll see how that goes. We have Baird out with some analysis on Activision Blizzard. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is the most anticipated game of the season. You already know it is. And EA's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, it's close to be a second favorite. Is like it's an interesting, like, different third-person type fighting style for a Star Wars game. So it's pretty interesting. Purchasing intent among consumers stronger this year despite less robust release slate. So that'll be interesting to see how these games perform. And I told you Call of Duty was going to do well. There's no shocker. So we'll see how Jedi does. And then finally, we have some news for Iron Mountain as it appoints HanesBrands vet as CFO. So Barry Heitinen is going to be CFO effective January 1. Current CFO Stuart Brown stepped down to pursue other interests. Heitinen most recently served as the CFO of HanesBrands. So from underwear to now data storage. We'll see how that translates. But as long as the guy's good with money, that's literally all I care about. That's what Iron Mountain needs right now. And I love it. That's all I got for you, baby. Let's go.